Hey everybody, this is Rich Hanlin with Mortgage Ballers, and I've got a real treat for you today. I have the Megan Lamerato. What you don't know about Megan is out of 400 loan originators, she is one of our top 20 at a company called Expert Home Lending. For 2023, she's already off and running again for 2024, which makes her even a better candidate for an interview. Mortgage Ballers is all about bringing the best of the best in a market where people are struggling. And we were able to capture Megan on this because somehow, some way, she's figured it out for herself, what works for her. And today, with a little bit of her time, we're going to try and see if we can't find some incredible nuggets of information that she can pass on to other people. Anywhere in the United States, if you've got a license, today's a person you want to listen to. Megan, thanks for taking the time with me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Rich. I appreciate it as well.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot, but I think you're ready for it. Megan, people want to know, if we all have the same licenses, why is it that some people excel and some people struggle? And I get that word, because I have some of the top people say, what are you talking about? I'm struggling right now. But your struggle on a daily basis, most people would love to have your day of struggle versus what they're figuring out. You've obviously got some methodology in place, a success formula for yourself. Take us through a day in the life of Megan.
Okay. I would say consistency is probably the biggest thing that I value, and that I try with everything I'm doing. I try to stay consistent. You know, I wake up at the same time every morning. I go to the gym every morning. As soon as I'm done with the gym, I come home, grab breakfast, sit down in front of my computer, and start working for the day.
Okay.
I tend to get up earlier than sleeping in, and that's because I can get a lot more done in the early hours, as without, you know, the rest of the population awake and on their computer. I tend to get a lot more done before people are even getting out of bed. And that kind of starts my day. You know, it's repetition. It's the same thing every day. And you know, this industry is a roller coaster sometimes. And
yes, it is.
I finally feel like I am riding the roller coaster and not stressed when I have nothing going on, or I'm getting my butt kicked, or, you know, you kind of learn it over the course of it. I would say I've only been doing this for a little over 5 years now.
Wow. I didn't know
when
that.
I started in the industry, I started January of 2019.
Okay.
And I remember working for a mortgage company, sitting in the office, and I'm like printing up flyers and mapping out open houses and trying to figure out, okay, how many open houses can I hit this weekend, and just showing up to them with flyers, trying to meet agents. And all the loan officers next to me in the office, their phone is blowing up, and they don't have to do anything. They're just answering the phone and getting deals. I'm like, am I ever going to be like that? I hope so. And I feel like I'm finally, you know, with doing the same consistent things day in and day out, I feel like I'm at that level now where I don't have to, you know, I would say do some of the activities that I did previously. I've just changed around the activities that I'm doing now.
Sure.
Now I'm focusing on my relationships. I genuinely love my agents. I really love them. I hang out with them on the weekends. I go camping. I get massages. I go hiking. My other partners in our company, they're like, you go get massages with your agents? I was like, oh, absolutely. I find out what they like to do, and I'm a very open book. I will find something that we have in common and we can do together.
Okay.
When I initially started, you know, just like probably every loan officer, it was like, okay, hope to get a coffee date with an agent. And, you know, one of the agents finally was like, I'm over coffee. I was like, you know what, me too. You want to go on a hike? So I switched it and I started going on hikes with all of my agents. Now I live in Colorado. We are a very active state in general. So when I call an agent,
you are.
Like, hey, you want to go on a hike on Thursday? You pick the hike. Let's bring the dogs. And, we connect on a different level. I would say that I'm more of a one-on-one person, so I can actually get to know that agent on a more personal level. And I think that if you do consistently like reach out to your agents, and I mean, I genuinely like mine. So it's not hard for me to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, what are you doing? You want to go grab a margarita? There's certain agents that like to do different
Wait a
things.
second. Can we edit
Yeah,
that out? Is that legal? I just want to double check. Give me a thumbs up. They say hell yes.
cool. But I feel like finding the relationship with those agents has made me as successful, I guess, as what I'm at today.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions because I didn't know you were in the business. I'm going to say for that short of time, because that is short. Matter of fact, you walked right into 2020 and 21, probably thought, oh my God, this is the greatest business ever. And then the brakes were put on. You're like, oh my God, what did I get into? This is a up and down industry if I ever saw it. And the answer is yes to both. It's always doing so. As a matter of fact, I was talking to somebody today, and whenever someone says, oh, I've got it figured out, and I'm like, oh, wait till tomorrow and let me know if it's still the same. From guidelines to lenders to states to one day they hate brokers, next day they love brokers. It's always changing. I think the flexibility to change with it, which you've done, I can't stand having coffee. I try and think outside the box. I'm a very active person. If I'm not heading to sports games, I'm in the middle of a concert somewhere, and I'm a Kiss fan, by the way, and I will go anywhere to hear live music and have a drink and meet people. I love talking to people. My wife gets mad. She's like, my God, you're always talking to people. I love going. We always sit at a bar when we go to nice restaurants because I like to be able to talk. I don't want to just be isolated. And it's not that I'm selling. I just genuinely love talking to people, and it just flows. And it took a long time to get to that. When I first started, I wasn't good at that. But I also heard you say that you concentrate, it sounds like, on purchase business. I'm sure you'll take refis when they come, but you're purchase driven. So there's always purchases. But 5 years knowing that now, understanding that's actually pretty incredible, because the people that made our top 20, most of them have been in the business 15 plus. I just want you to know that. So that's pretty impressive out of 400. We have some of the top LOs in the nation, and people are like, oh, but my volume was still down. I don't care. Their volume was down too. Everybody's volume is affected. The question is, they were still top in their field across the nation, which is incredible. I also know something else about you. I know that you're not on an island by yourself doing this by yourself. You've actually, you have a team that you've taken on by yourself. It has nothing to do with the company you work for, but you have found value in that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I am part of Greenlight Mortgage Group, and I believe there are now 10 partners / loan officers that are all part of our group.
Okay.
I have worked with 7 out of the 10 at past companies.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
It's really, it feels like home. That was the hardest part about leaving my first company, is that I loved the people that I worked with. We got along super well. If I had a question, there was an answer. And especially when you're newer in the industry, I always have questions. And so to be able to walk into somebody's office or reach out to somebody and have people that are willing to help, I think is huge, especially when you're starting off. And even now, guidelines change all the time. New programs come out. People have had a gotcha moment where they're like, ooh, if this happens, here's how I got around it. So you have that. We have a really awesome team camaraderie. We actually just met this last week, and I was like, we see each other once a week. We do a call on Thursdays, and it's a call we all actually enjoy being on. It's not like, what's your volume and what are you? It's, hey, I ran into this, or this is what I'm doing that I've gotten business from. And it's everybody sharing their ideas, which I love. I love having, I want everybody to win. I love hearing when our team is closing so many deals. We just had a record month in the month of May. I
Yeah,
think
you
we closed
did.
36 deals in the month of May. And, with a lot of people struggling in the industry right now, it's nice to see our team is working together and, you know, bearing the storm, if you will. So, but yeah, I've worked with majority of the people in, and the nice thing about our team is we're not just saying like, sure, anybody that wants to join, come join. We want to make sure that we're making a brand here. We want
Hmm.
them to be the right fit for our team. Um, we want people that have common goals and aspirations and are willing to jump in and help. We even put our processors on our calls now too, because they add so much value of what they see on the back end to
Sure.
help us on the front end of things. So I think all in all, I was very, very nervous to join the broker world in general because everything I've heard is, oh God, brokers, they're terrible. Things explode last minute. You don't have any control over your process. This is the exact same thing I'm doing every day. It's not this terrible, you're never going to close a loan ever again. And I think we've proven that over and over again. Not only can we close loans, we are still very successful. We're closing loans. I mean, I had a 7 business day close. It's only because TRID forces us to have 7
Sure.
days. But I
How
had to
dare
clear
they
the
do that? That's horrible.
right. I had to clear to close in 3 days, and you hear all these horror stories of how the broker world is terrible and good luck. And I've seen the exact opposite. I'm like kicking myself for not joining it sooner. And, you know, one of the top people that started our company, he'll probably be on this as well. And he was like, Megan, you just come see. I will show you
You
how
can say his name. It's okay.
Matt Hardy. He's
There you
fantastic.
go.
Um, and, it took him reaching out to me on a consistent basis and being like, you are missing out. And, when I'm busting my butt and working hard and I'm losing the clients at that last, you know, point right before because of rates. And
Hmm.
you start realizing how much like mortgage companies will cushion those rates so that they can pay everybody out. So
Sure.
once you start eliminating everybody that's putting their hands in your bucket, it's like I actually don't have to lose these deals. It's the hardest part is actually getting the client, and then spending all the time and everything. So just to lose it at the end, it was killing me on a daily basis. I'm like, I love the people I work with, but I cannot keep losing deals. I just
I
work
agree.
way too hard to lose it at the end. And so having the flexibility to be able to make adjustments and I mean, I'm a very competitive person in general, so I don't like to lose. But, I didn't have that flexibility previously, and I do now. And I don't know if I would be in the same position that I'm at right now if I was still you know, unfortunately, it's kind of the way the world's working right now. Everybody's
Sure.
shopping, everybody trying to get that lowest rate, nickel and diming. And I build my business on relationships. That's really what I look for. But at some points, you have to pivot a little bit, right? At the end of the day, I don't consider myself a discount lender. I do an amazing job for my clients. I love my clients. I go to every closing I am here for. And that's my way to develop a relationship even more. I'm not
Right.
just somebody on a phone or an email. I want to know everything about the people that I'm working with.
No, I think that's awesome. And it's okay to throw Matt's name in there because when I called him to say, hey, Matt, I think he was number 3 out of the 400, right behind Brandy. And I said, by the way, I'm getting ready to make a call to Megan. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, she was one of our top 22. And it wasn't a competitive thing. He was so proud. I mean, I could hear it. He was more proud of that than he was of hearing that he was number 3. And I thought, oh, I like that guy. I like him a lot. Because that's how I've had to change over the years. People they see the moment what expert is. They saw my last company and they're like, oh, it must always have been like that. And the answer is no. I used to do things a lot different, and this is my 5th company that I've owned, and I've done things very different over time. I've made changes that have, and team partnerships. I don't do it all by myself. I used to do it all by myself and just hire employees. It's just different now. And I've learned what my limitations are. I learned what my strengths are. So I went out and I partnered with my weaknesses, and I get to work my strengths. The last 2 years has been all about growing a company that I don't get to do this kind of stuff as much anymore. But now I've rededicated that. I want, because I truly believe it's not about expert. It's about putting you out front. It's your loans, it's your relationships. I need your realtors to see you. I don't want them to see me. I am your support staff. UWM is your tool chest, right? And so many brokers, I think, get that backwards. They want to be out front and say, these are my people. I'm like, no, let's switch that. I get calls for interviews all the time. And I'm like, no, how about you talk to so-and-so? This is one of my top originators. It would be a better conversation, but no, we want to know how you did. I'm like, I've got 5 other partners. It's not a me thing. I'm a big believer nowadays. I think the market is too hard, that if you don't have a support scenario for yourself, like, you've found that with, what'd you say, there's 10 or how many people on that team?
Yeah, I believe we have 10 people now.
Okay.
And we're growing,
no, and it is. I remember when you said green light, I'm like, green light, what's that? No, these Colorado people, everything's about green and nature. No, Colorado's been a phenomenal market. I think right now, honestly, I think it has become possibly our number 2 market behind California, because we have some of the most incredible originators. And then we find out that, they're doing teams, and you're not the only team in Colorado. I have a couple of them. Matter of fact, I'll throw it out real quick. We're doing our Boulder event, I think August 14th. We're coming out there. Where are you at? Where are you located in there?
I live in Boulder.
Wow, look at that. No, we did Denver last time, and I told everybody we'd also do a Boulder event because we have even more people. I know they're not right next to each other, but August 14th, keep the date. We're coming out for a happy hour. We're going to blow it away.
I'm so bummed. I'm going to miss it. So I'm getting married.
My gosh. Let's stop 9th. The interview right now.
I'm getting married August 9th, and we are doing a little mini moon that we leave on the 13th.
Well, congratulations, by the way. I get that. That is a priority. And I'm glad you're doing it before the refinances start, because then you might be pressed to put it off for a while, as you might get very busy again, like you were in 20 and 21, even more than you are right now. I expect a 4-to-1 flip. When the market turns, the average loan officer will see so if you're doing 10 loans, you're going to be doing 40. If you're doing 5, you're going to be doing 20. If you're doing 2, you're probably going to jump up to, what is that? 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. Got to make sure I can count. But if you're doing 1, you're probably going to go to 4. It's been a tough market. I can tell you that I have certain areas in the United States, Colorado being one of them, that just seems to blast through. But even more than that, what I have learned is it's possibly not the market. It's the individuals within the market. Is it, I'm going to throw myself off a bridge day, or is it, I'm going to do something different to overcome because I don't want to have another day like yesterday. That didn't work. Cool. I'm going to do something different today. And I think it's more of that, because Michael Radcliffe, our number 1 person, pointed out, he said, Rich, there's business. You're just fighting harder to get it. What separates you versus, are you the person saying, let's have coffee? Or are you the person saying, let's go for a hike? Something different, right? Relating to your people. So we know that you're 5 years into business. You've incredible numbers that you've done coming over from direct lending world. So a big difference. You made that adjustment, even though you have the horror stories. That's always been there, by the way. Oh, God, they do nothing but illegal stuff. Oh, my God, do you know they pay 1099? That is illegal. I know, because I have a friend at the CFPB, and he told me so. It's like, okay, I guess the IRS is wrong then, because they've audited me 12 times. I don't know what to tell you. I'm way past those points now. And I think each brokerage should to do their own business plan based on the knowledge and the expertise that they hire. And I'd leave it there. I don't get in those conversations. I just keep plowing through. I'm in my 34th year doing this, and it's gone by like that. So you've been in, what did you do prior to coming into the industry? That might be a good question.
Yeah. So my background's actually in education.
Okay.
And I graduated during the crash and burn of 0809. And I'm
Okay.
originally from Michigan, so they closed down a lot of schools in Michigan during that time. And my oldest sister had moved out to Colorado, and she was like, why don't you come out? We'll do a nice long ski weekend. And we got snowed in on the last day, and I moved out 2 weeks later. I was sold. I
Wow.
loved everything about Colorado. And when I moved out here, I had started up the teaching stuff again. And it was, Denver had taken $1 million budget cut for Denver public schools. And I was just running into the same thing over and over. And so my sister, she works at Chase Bank, and she's like, well, a bunch of the bigwigs are in town. Why don't you come to this event and see if you like it? And I'm like, well, I don't know the difference between a checking and savings account. That sounds terrible. And she's like, they like people that have an education background and have been in a service industry because, after 0809 and all the big banks had all these terrible reputations, they wanted people to focus on service. And so I got into the banking industry in 2011. And this is going to sound super embarrassing, I actually did not understand what a mortgage was. I thought that if people wanted to buy a house, they had money, and that's how they bought a house. So we had a mortgage officer right out of my office, and I sat down with her pretty early on, within like my first couple weeks, and said, I'm hearing all these other bankers on the phone, and they're talking about HARP. What is this? They are just, killing all these deals. Like, help me understand Mortgage Dummies 101 and give me some background. I'll never forget this loan officer. She's actually still at Chase. She did my first mortgage that I got. And, she literally took the time to sit down and talk with me and explain it kind of from start to finish on how it worked and what it was. And I was just fascinated. I was like, this is amazing. Like, you don't even have to have money to buy a house, really, sometimes. Like, this is great.
Right.
So I was in the banking world for 8 years, and I had kind of hit my point of I couldn't really go any farther, right? At that point, I had all my investment licenses. I was doing tons of home equity lines of credit, and I was maxing out my goals to the point where I'm like, okay, I want to keep growing. I want to keep learning. And at that point, it was like, do I go business route, investment route, mortgage route? And I love numbers. I'm a very math background type of a person. And so I'm like, mortgage route it is. And I jumped in with both feet and started at a mortgage company. So, wow. It's the amount of people that told me when I had started back in 2019, like, what are you doing going into mortgage now? Rates are going up. This doesn't even make any sense. Why wouldn't you start at a bank where you're getting referrals and yada, yada? I mean, I worked at a bank long enough that I know that I didn't want to do mortgages at a bank. And so, I did have a big clientele that I had done home equities for. So that when 2020 and 2021 and the big refinance boom happened, I actually did have clients because I did all of their home equities. So now I'm reaching out to them like, hey, let's consolidate these first and seconds into one at a much lower rate, which kind of kept me afloat, because I mean, when you start in the industry, especially when you're not getting leads from your company, you're kind of like, okay, how do I get business? And that was very helpful on top of all of the other activities I was doing to at least have clients that I could reach out to and say, hey, I know I did your home equity. Like, let's look at consolidating that. And I've maintained these relationships for years now.
Right. I went during the crash of 2008. I had to do a lot of things because the broker world was a bad word at the time. At first, they blamed us for the crash. but I actually went to B of A for a while. I got to see what it was like doing loans at B of A, but I'm very thankful for that time at B of A, because one thing I did learn at B of A, even though I was in California, was there were pockets around the United States that were not as affected as others. I got to see the pockets that seemed to be very affected, California as a whole, but certain states like Georgia, Alabama, some of the Midwest states, I was like, wow, it's just another day. They also don't have the huge swings in equity and value, but they stay very consistent. Texas was one of those. What I found is that also there's a lot of people across the United States that their incomes are salary or very consistent, no matter what the market is. And so if they don't have the big swings where they get into huge debt, California, you have a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck because it's so expensive to live there. And I feel like the incomes do not match the rises in cost. It's probably by design, but that's one thing I noticed over the years. But when this crash came, when 20 and 21, I started talking to my partner. I'm like, man, this is low. These are low rates. Like, where are we going to go from here? I honestly thought that after 20, that 21 would be the rising rates. And when we had the back-to-back years, that made me really nervous. I said, okay, I'm not going to lose everything again. And I remember what happened last time. And the idea of going national, that's what made sense to me. And I knew I needed the right partners. I needed the right energy level and things like that. And that's kind of how Expert came around, because people thought I was crazy that I left the last company. Like, why would you do that? It's already a top 10. Where are you going? You'll never do that again. You're not the recruiter. And guess what? I became a recruiter. And guess what? I've been very lucky. About 80 of those people at the last company followed me. I was very lucky. None of them had to, but some of them did. That helped get it going. And then the states kicked in, and one by one, we get people like Matt Hardy that's incredibly blessed in his ability to know people. He's respected. And that's when I really got my eyes open that said, there are incredible originators all around the United States. It's never been about going after all the originators for me. It's about the partnership with the right people and finding people that are excited entrepreneurs. I love those kind of people because that's how I am. I am not hireable anymore to go do an hourly job. To me, that would be a shackle and I would be miserable. I'm excited every day. I have challenges just like you do, but those challenges keep us going. And if you have the ability to retain, there's a lot of repetition that eventually you're going to get that same challenge. You're going to go, I know how to fix that, So I'm so honored that you partnered with us, that you took a chance on Expert. I'm honored that, you've teamed up, you've found resources where a lot of people don't realize, I'm not at a big lender and I don't have these Monday meetings where I walk in a boardroom. No, we have electronic meetings, and you can make your own group of people that will hold you accountable. You just have to be willing to think outside the box a little bit. It's more of a type A personality. You have the people that are, I'm not going to fail. I'm going to get up. I'm going to take that hill. Whatever hits you in the face that day, you're overcoming it. This is not a place for people who are afraid of their shadow. I agree. There's some people that are better at an institutional lender getting a paycheck, and there's nothing wrong with that. Getting your own business is not easy to do. It takes a knack. It takes an outward faith to be able to know and trust that what you're doing, if I have a bad week, but I know I did the right things, and then sure enough, that loan comes. You obviously have figured that out, and which is awesome. I'm going to ask you a question, and I ask everybody this question, but it's important because I think people have to understand that no matter what you face, you don't give up. The question is, where am I going to start it up tomorrow if I'm faced with adversity? But if I blindfolded you, and dropped you in some state that you're not licensed in, and I said, guess what? You think you're good at what you do? Start over from day one and show everybody how good you really are, what you think you know. I know you'd get there, but take us, what would you do? What would it look like for you right now, this second, to become back to the Megan that you are today? What kind of steps would you take?
It's a great question. I feel like this could go in so many different ways. Um, because it wasn't that long ago where I just started out from
Sure.
scratch, kind of. I will talk to anybody that will talk to me. So get a lot of um, I get a lot of clients and a lot of agents and such by just going out and, maybe going out to lunch, sitting at a bar, going and getting my nails done, getting my hair done, whatever it might be. And you gradually just kind of naturally talk about what you do. Like, what do you
Sure.
do? I've joined Facebook groups. The most recent one I've joined is Dinks, Dinks of
Okay.
Colorado. My fiance and I were not planning to have children. We want to be around other people. I mean, I love children, don't get me wrong, but like, that's just not we like to go out and go dirt biking and go hiking and pick up and go at any point. And we want to find those kind of people that also like to do the same thing.
Sure.
I joined Golden Retrievers of Colorado just to get more people that have Goldens and like, let's get them together and just go out and meet people organically.
Sure.
But I also have no problem walking into realtor offices and, introducing myself, seeing who's there, bringing some goodies. I have no problem going to open houses. I think you have to know the community that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is like, I'm not scared and sitting behind a computer and I'm not terrified to pick up a phone. I want to go out there. I want to have those conversations. And I want to find people that I like and I like to do business with. And I think that if you can find people that you genuinely have like something in common or you genuinely really enjoy that person, then it's not calling like, hey, I'm a loan officer, I have the best rates, come use me. It's, hey, let's go out, let's hang out. And I think it naturally will come to where you start doing more business with the people that you like to do business with.
Sure.
And I could tell all day, like, hey, if I write a pre-approval, that loan is closing. If it has anything to do with me, it's closing. I'm not just writing pre-approvals just to do them. I do a really good job at communicating with my clients. And, everybody says like, oh, well, you have to communicate and you have to work hard and answer your phone at all hours of the night. Do I do that? Oh, sometimes. I'm trying to get better at it. But I have a hard time saying no. So I feel like I would do a lot of the same activities that I'm doing right now.
Okay.
I would hope that you would put me in a place that does outdoor activities. If you did drop me somewhere.
Back to Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from Michigan. There's not a ton to do there. I am actually still licensed in Michigan, mainly because of friends and family that still live there. But,
Sure.
I feel like it's the same activities I'm doing daily. I'm going to the gym every morning. The amount of business I get from going to the gym or just going out and meeting with people it's great. I've found my niche of just, I need to get out from my desk. And that goes back to having a good team to work with, right? We have amazing processors that have been with us from the start. One of them that I used to work with at my first mortgage company, and I just called him. And when we started getting busy, I called him. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, my wife's about to have her third kid. Somehow I'm a stay-at-home dad. And I'm like, do you want to come back to our world? And he's like, all right, I'm kind of interested, He's fantastic. So it's like we've hired the right people.
Sure.
And if you have that backing and that support to let me go out and do what I'm good at and getting the business, it keeps them happy, feeds their children, their families. And at the end of the day, I need to have that team camaraderie.
One of the question I do ask people is, are you an individual or do you use a process or LOA? You've been answering that all the way through. I used to do everything myself thinking I was saving money, and I was wrong. I could do, once I gave up on that idea. And it's funny because, you know, whether it's a CRM, whether it's a certain product that you use to help, you know, externally with what you do to a processor, you quickly learn how to absorb those costs because you replace that energy with more business. And I can't emphasize that enough to people that want to fight me, because it's always the same thing. The people, and here's a good example. I had a person come to me at my last company and he said, I have made up my mind. I want to be like this person over here. And I'll say his name is Matt Gouget. He goes by Matt, the mortgage guy. I talk about him all the time. He's a good friend. Very, very proud of him. He's one of the top probably 100 in the nation, consistent. He's out there on all sorts of social media. But the person said, I want to be like Matt. Tell me the steps I have to do to be just like Matt, and I'll start doing it today. I said, no problem. You got a budget of $25,000 a month. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. What are you talking about? And I said, Matt invests in himself, from coaching to social media to leads. He has an arsenal of things going on. And I don't know for sure if it's 25,000, maybe at the peak of the market, but even in this market, I guarantee he's putting out $10,000 to $15,000. He is a believer investing in himself, and he consistently does double digits and makes his money back. He has a team of people that he invests in that makes him look good. Matter of fact, he's with You Mortgage. Anthony Costa, shout out. But the person's like, I can't do that. I would never do that. I can't afford to invest in myself. And I'm thinking, I don't know that you're in the right business, because this is not a business where you can just sit back and the phone rings. It's never been for me. The more I invest and the more diversified my advertising is, I always have to have all these channels going, and I never know which one's going to fire. But by the more spokes in my wagon wheel that I have in advertising, the deals just come. They just come. And obviously the one most important one is nurturing my past relationships and staying in front of my past clients. They know that if they have a question about a loan, I'll just call Rich. I don't sell anybody anything. I answer questions. I am their go-to for knowledge. And I have incredible partnerships with people around the United States that if I don't know the answer, I have somebody within the industry that maybe can answer that, from attorneys to lawyers to, hey, my kid's having dental work. Cool, I know a dentist. That is the strength. So I tell people, oh, you're a full-time loan officer. No, I'm a full-time advertiser, and every now and then I get to do a loan. Because that truly is the mentality that I take every day. I get up and I make sure all of my advertisements, portfolio of advertisements, are firing. If not, I get them updated. If something's not working, hey, replace it. I do like to do stuff with you guys, though, where I go out ahead of you. For example, what we're doing right now, because I like to take these kind of things. I like to do what my strength is to be able to do search engine optimization and get your videos out to the public, get them to where they show up in your marketplace. Something I haven't been able to do in the last couple of years because I've been growing a company. But now it's leveled off for me. I have a team of people that I have hired to help me do that specifically. And I'm just so glad, because this is the part that I enjoy. I can't wait to take your video, to take you. I mean, knowing that you've only been in the business 5 years, that's incredible what you're accomplishing. I can't say that enough. No wonder Matt talks so highly of you. Congratulations probably is the most basic thing I can say, but it goes beyond that. On top of that, you're getting married. Oh my God, you got a lot going on. And truth is, I see all the Facebook posts for everybody, right? And I always see that you're going 100 miles an hour. And I think, how is she doing all these loans? They're always doing something. The one thing I have yet to do, though, I have family in Colorado Springs, believe it or not. And my son went to the Air Force Academy. Jordan, he's one of our owners here. Have you climbed is it called Avenue of the Gods? What is it? You know, X amount of steps straight up in Garden of the Gods or something?
Manitou Incline. Yes,
there you go.
I did Manitou Incline. I thought I was going to climb it in under 30 minutes.
Oh no.
And I was like, I can do 104 steps a minute. I got this. And I did it in 38 minutes. So I'm still happy to be under
Slacker.
40. But yes, I actually did it last summer. I've been wanting to do it since I moved to Colorado, and whew, it is a butt burner. That is for sure.
Here's the question though. Did you turn around and come down the steps, or did you take the side way and come down the other way?
I did the side way. They do try to tell you not to come back down the steps because there's so many people that are going up. And so I just wanted to respect that. So I did come down the long way.
Okay.
And finally could catch my breath a little bit by coming back down the long way.
I went to Colorado because I always was able to go there in September for, it was like, parents' weekend at the academy, because other than that, they don't want you there. My brother-in-law lives in Colorado Springs, actually Peyton. And so he was the host family. It's always awesome to get out there. But I was amazed. I had to go to the store and buy cans of oxygen to be able to breathe, because there are some times that I was struggling when you're a mile up there in that area. And then you have people that are climbing that thing. I thought, there's no way I could do it. I don't know. Now, I don't know. Is Boulder at a mile high too, or in comparison?
Yes.
Okay.
And when people do come in from out of town, it's like drink a lot of water. If you're having a alcoholic beverage, keep in mind that one in Colorado is like 3 in, your Michigans and your Floridas and your sea level. So there's a lot of, I did have altitude sickness when I first moved to Colorado.
Okay.
It took me a couple weeks to actually acclimate and get used to it, but we see it all the time when we have family come in from out of town that, they're just not used to the altitude. So, it was interesting when we were back in like the mask wearing days, and I was at the gym and I was like, I feel like I'm high altitude training at already a high altitude, and now I really can't breathe. So it takes a little bit getting used to, but you're not the only one. One of my brother-in-law's brother, every time he comes to Colorado, he comes and he's immediately getting oxygen, and he's like, this is what I need to survive in your state.
I don't understand. I always try and drink the water. I mean, they just keep putting water in my hands, but I always thought, I was doing triathlons at one time, all the way up to Ironman triathlons. And I'm like, oh, I will have no problem. Oh, hell no. I could not get enough oxygen. I know that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but yeah. You're in such a beautiful, unique area. And you're right. It is a very active state for those who are willing to take advantage of it. It's also beautiful. I always forget how beautiful Colorado is. I'm not a skier. I can ski, but it's not, I used to play baseball. And so skiing was off limits because they didn't want them tweaking our knees and stuff. So I've always had a fear of it. And so I never became very good. I'm always on the little course with my skis crossed, and the little kids are zooming around me. But beautiful. My son got married just up outside of Boulder, up by not Vel, but Breckenridge. There's a lake and there's an overhang, and they do weddings every 30 minutes, it seems like. It was one of the most breathtaking things I've ever seen in my life. And I just, Colorado is an absolute joy every time we go there. Now, do I like to go to Denver? Only if I'm going to watch the Air Force Academy, play a football game against Army or Navy. But besides that, I try and pass through Denver quickly and get to the outskirts. I love Deion Sanders. I like me some college football. But I just, Colorado has played a huge role in my family's life since my son went to the Air Force Academy. We've been much more active there. I have family there. But, Megan, I always try and tell people that because they don't believe it, but you can pick anywhere you want to work. The truth is you'll be successful wherever you go. So I just want to say, number one, thank you for partnering with Expert and taking a chance on Expert Home Lending. I try not to make this about Expert because Mortgage Ballers is truly finding the best of the best, but I can't help but say that because I am a broker of a company and you happen to be one of my people. And that's one of the reasons why I know I originate, I do real estate. I get it. the time away from family and kids and, you know, sacrifices that you make to go do those open houses. And, you know, it's not an easy path that you've chosen. It can be very rewarding. And some people take off in it. Some people meander in it, and some people fail miserably. I think there's some misconceptions that it's easy, and they think of 20 and 21 and it's not like that. Even when rates are low, there's competition and people will burn you for 1/8%. If you treat people like numbers instead of like personal relationships, you'll find out really quickly that if they don't have something to hold on with you, that sort of some camaraderie, then they'll burn you for $500 in fees. My people don't shop rate on me. They trust me explicitly. And I'm very honored in that. And I make sure I take care of them. There's deals that I will come out of pocket. If I screw up, that's not on you. It's on me. I will pay for it. If I'm behind on my closing because I didn't perform, hey, let me know what it cost you to stay in that hotel over the weekend, the extra days, and I will send you a check. Matter of fact, I'll add $500. Go out on a date on me once you get into your house. I always come through. And so my realtors know that. And I've shown them that it's not about the next dollar. It's about getting people in the houses. It's about getting them paid. Because that's the success when I get them paid. Because who's the last one to get paid in a transaction? The broker. Sometimes up to a week later, right? Depending on how it works. But we do it, and we do it consistently. And your story is incredible. It really is. I couldn't be prouder of what you've accomplished and making an expert look good. I mean, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. To think that there's people out there on the weekend representing a company that I'm part of and all over the United States, making us look good. And people understand what I'm doing. We allow people to brand their own names. And that's where green light comes from, right? They're branding their own vision. And we're cool with that. It's 100% legal to do that. And I love it. It gives it their own branding. They're able to individualize, and it makes it feel a little bit smaller and homey versus this huge company. And not everybody allows people to do that. They want their name on everything. And I learned a long time ago, that's just, it's not necessary. You do right by a lot of people. You put a lot of people in houses. I see your pictures, like, cause you go to your closings and you take pictures and you share that with people, and you just see the smiles, you see the relief, you see the, the pride in becoming homeowners. And there you are, you're just keep doing it. So I can't say thank you enough for what you're accomplishing and how you go about your day. And I hope a lot of people will see this video and understand you do not have to be 20, 30 years in this industry to be able to figure it out and do it right and have success. You could be 5 years in the industry. It's all about how you wake up every morning, how you attack your day, and you don't waver. You don't make excuses. And I think the top people do that. Megan, there's people out there that might see this video and they might say, whether they're expert people, whether just people anywhere in the United States, if somebody said, you know what, I am relating to Megan's story, but I'm not having that kind of success, I would love to be able to talk to her one-on-one. And it's cool if you don't. I know you're busy. But if somebody wanted to reach out to you, are they allowed to? Would that be something you're receptacle to?
Absolutely. And again, at the end of the day, I want to see everybody win. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning. I'm still changing and adjusting. But 100%, I would love anybody, if they want to reach out. I have zero problem chatting and helping as much as possible.
Well, I appreciate that. I want to say congratulations again. Sounds like you got some a marriage to take care of. It sounds like you got a honeymoon to take care of, a mini moon, as based on how you said it. I won't see you out there, but I'll be sure to see your team when I'm out there, and we'll talk about you. I'll make sure I have one drink, since it's going to be like drinking 3 from Georgia, where it's smoking hot this weekend. But Megan, congratulations. You're one of our top originators out of 400, you're top 20 for 2023. I know you're well on your way again. Keep doing what you do. Again, Expert's honored to have you. I'm just honored as a human being that's a broker licensed person. Anytime somebody would team up with an idea that I had, Expert's just an idea, right? That was put together, and incredible people is what makes it turn into something and takes that idea and makes it real. So thank you for making what I had in my head become a realization for other people, because I never know how it's going to work out. I get these crazy ideas, but Expert's one of the best ideas that I've had, and it's because of people like you. And I just want to say thank you. I can't say it enough. I'm so honored that you hang your license with us.
Yeah, and thank you, because this has been a very amazing, eye-opening experience for me. And being with Expert has been fantastic. So I wish I would have done it sooner, but I'm here now. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Rich.
Well, everybody, that is Megan Lamerato. Am I saying it right?
Yes.
If not, you say it fast a couple times. My name is Rich Hanlin. This is Mortgage Ballers, where our goal is to bring the best of the best in the industry. You're looking at Megan right here. She's one of the best. Top 20 out of 400 of some of the best originators in the nation for 2023. She's well on her way to doing it again. If you need someone to mentor you, if you need someone to talk to, if you want to understand how you can go from 0 to 5 years and be one of the top originators, reach out to Megan. Maybe there's something you heard today that can change the trajectory of your business life. But I know this. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Today's a day, maybe you heard something that helps you make a change. Just one small, they say, just look up 3 degrees and your whole outcome can change. And Megan looked up from the banking world at Chase and said, you know what? I'm going to step out. That was a big jump, and congratulations for doing it. You're right where you need to be and right where you should be. The broker world is better because of what you took a chance on. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it.
All right. You take care, Megan. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, you too.